Alright, now we're going to be talking about translations of sine and cosine functions. Okay, so translations are just basically vertical shifts and phase shifts. Okay, alright, and we'll just be talking about sine and cosine for this case. So we're going to introduce new letters. Alright, A, this one's pretty simple. A is just your amplitude. Let's do sine, and we'll have B theta plus H. Now in your book you might have a plus C, okay, but in this case we're just going to be using H and K to line up with what Desmos has been doing, okay? Alright, now here's the cool thing. Whatever you do for cosine, you're going to be doing the same for sine. Okay, so they're both going to work out, except the new formulas we're going to learn today are phase shift and vertical shift. Okay, now phase shift, well, vertical shift is pretty easy. It's just K. So whatever your vertical shift it is. Notice how it isn't an absolute value. So if your K is negative, your vertical shift is going to be down. If K is positive, obviously up. Okay, now phase shift, you're going to use a combination of B and H. Okay, now your phase shift, you guys, is going to be negative H divided by B. Okay, so now in the book it also has this represented as, I believe it's negative K divided by C. Is that right? Hold on. Nope, it has it reversed. It has negative C divided by K, but they both mean the same thing except in this case. So throughout our videos I'm not going to use this, but just understand they both mean the same thing. So what is it saying? You do the opposite of whatever this number is and you divide it by this number in front of that. Okay, now if there is no number in front of theta, treat B as 1, right? And if there is no number after theta being added or subtracted, treat H as 0. Okay, so for example, if you had to draw this out, okay, y equals 4 cosine of 2 theta plus 4 minus 1. Okay, so first off I would just identify everything. So I'd identify vertical shift is equal to negative 1. Okay, then I would define all the easy stuff first. Amplitude is equal to 4. Okay, then I would define period. Period would be 2 pi divided by 2, which would equal pi. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And then phase shift comes next. Phase shift would be negative 4 divided by 2, which would be negative 2. Okay? Alright, so that just means we shift everything over to the left negative 2 units. Okay, so if I had to graph this by hand, okay, everything that would normally appear over here on the right side would now be shifted over 2 units to the left. Okay, now normally this number in here, I'm going to go back and change this because this should be, let's make this pi halves. There we go. Normally this number is in terms of radians. So this would change into negative pi halves divided by 2, which would turn into negative pi units to the left. Okay, all right, that looks a lot better. Okay, so now normally what we would do is we'd take the period and cut it up into 4 pieces and put them all here. Okay, but since we're shifting over pi units to the left, okay, we're going to shift everything over to here and then start our graph. So you would start up your top part up here, bottom part right there, this part right here, this part right here, and then this part right here. And then you would start your graph like this. Okay? And that's how you would work it out by hand. Obviously, if you have Desmos, just type it in and just understand that whatever this number is, you're making the negative of it. So if it was negative pi halves, you become positive pi halves divided by 2. Okay? And remember, when you're dividing a fraction by a whole number, flip it and multiply by the reciprocal, and you'll understand. Well, no. Oh man, that's actually a good point. Flip it and multiply by the reciprocal. This should be pi fourths units. So this technically, that's actually a good save. And if you know your stuff, you'll actually understand why the graph works certain ways. So the graph isn't going to be shifted all the way over. It's just going to be shifted over to here. So here, 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 here. And as you can see, me just by knowing my math, I was able to save my question and be able to go through it and understand, oh, I'm only shifting over a little bit. Okay? All right, but that's it for translations of sine and cosine functions, and obviously cosine and sine would be the same except just a difference in where you start at the top. But that is it for translations. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Oh, and just so you know, there is no difference in the formulas for tangent when coming up. So please understand tangent is going to be a little bit pretty much the same. Okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.